Paul Daley. Paul Daley made the dumbest career mistake in MMA history with one reckless punch. The British knockout artist was one win away from fighting George St. Pierre for the welterweight title, but then he threw it all away at UFC 113. In this fight against Josh Koscheck, Daley was absolutely humiliated. For 15 brutal minutes, Koscheck smothered him with relentless wrestling. He took him down repeatedly while taunting him between rounds. As a result, when the final bell rang, Daley snapped. Silence. It was easily the best punch Daley landed all night. But UFC President Uncle Dana White wasn't too happy as his face turned purple with rage. He immediately banned Daley for life, screaming, "That's the dumbest thing I've ever seen."
He will never fight in the UFC ever again.
Daley later apologized to Koscheck for his unprofessional actions, but the damage was already done. Despite moving to Bellator and becoming one of their most feared strikers, his name remains permanently blacklisted from the UFC. Daley officially became the first fighter to receive a lifetime ban from the promotion. Igor Severino. Igor Severino made UFC history in the most absurd way possible. He channeled his inner Mike Tyson, but not in the way anyone wanted. During his April 2024 debut, the 20-year-old Brazilian prospect stunned the MMA world. In his fight against Andre Lima at UFC Vegas 89, he suddenly clamped down on Lima's bicep mid-takedown, sinking his teeth in with animalistic intensity. The Las Vegas crowd erupted in disbelief as Lima recoiled, revealing deep, unmistakable teeth marks. The picture went viral instantly. But referee Chris Tognoni's horrified expression said it all. He immediately halted the fight and stared at Severino as if he'd just witnessed a crime. After the fight, the UFC president Dana White said now he gets cut and loses the biggest opportunity of his life. Just like that, in less than 2 rounds, Severino's UFC career ended. Officially the shortest in the UFC's history. Meanwhile, his opponent Lima made the best out of the bizarre moment, tattooing the bite mark on his arm with the playful caption, "I got bleep bit bonus" underneath. While biting in combat sports will forever be associated with Mike Tyson, his infamous 1997 incident stands apart. You see, there's a crucial difference. Tyson's bite occurred during a heavyweight title fight, while Igor Severino, he threw away his entire UFC future in his debut, sabotaging his career before it even began. This wasn't merely a rules violation, it was the kind of mistake that ensures you'll never compete at the highest level again. Matt Riddle. Matt Riddle was the most unprofessional stoner in UFC history. Riddle didn't just fail drug tests. He turned marijuana use into the most ridiculous excuse in MMA history. After getting caught for weed following his UFC 149 win, Riddle gave an interview. It was so laughably unprofessional it went viral. Let me allow Dana to explain this one.
And also, this is the guy, Matt Riddle, who did an interview and said, "I smoke marijuana so I don't beat my wife and children."
When he failed again months later after defeating Che Mills, Dana lost it, saying this idiot is beyond pathetic. After this, the World Wrestling Entertainment took him with open arms. He seemed to have made a redemption, complete with backflips and catchphrases. But then history repeated itself in 2023. He was dismissed again for substance issues. This wasn't just a party boy making mistakes. It was a legitimately talented athlete throwing away millions in potential earnings. Jason High. Jason High's moment of madness is one he'd give anything to undo. It was all because of 2 seconds of pure insanity. When High lost to Rafael dos Anjos in 2014 via second-round TKO, he was angered by what he believed were shots to the back of the head. But this is where he made the mistake. He didn't just disagree with the stoppage, he completely lost control. In a flash of rage, High shoved referee Kevin Mulhall so hard it looked like an assault. The arena fell silent as referee Mulhall stepped back in disbelief. Uncle Dana White's reaction was instant and iconic, saying, "You never lay hands on an official."
He'll never come back here again. There's no excuse for that.
The decision came before High even left the cage. High came out with a Twitter apology soon after saying, "It will never happen again." But to the UFC, that excuse meant nothing. They protect referees like Secret Service agents. I'm pretty sure that moment still plays in referee training seminars today. It's definitely one of the saddest ways to get blacklisted from MMA's biggest promotion. Honestly, I feel a little bad for the guy. Today, he coaches younger fighters, using his infamous moment as the ultimate lesson of how not to handle adversity in the cage. The warning remains clear. Disagree with the call all you want, but touch a referee, and your career's over before you even leave the octagon. Rousimar Palhares. Rousimar Palhares wasn't just a submission specialist. He was a legitimate danger to opponents treating their limbs like they were disposable waste. This guy was an absolute menace. The Brazilian heel hook monster didn't just win fights, He tried to end careers by holding submissions long after taps, creating some of the most disturbing moments in UFC history.
They kicked him out of the UFC, the first guy ever to get kicked out of the UFC for holding on a submission.
At UFC 111, he ended up spraining Tomasz Drwal's knee after ignoring several taps. This guy kept going until the referee finally had to step in. As a result, he was given a 90-day suspension from the New Jersey State Athletic Control Board. When given a second chance, he doubled down at UFC Fight Night 29 against Mike Pierce, ignoring 8 clear taps and forcing officials to physically pry him off while Pierce screamed in pain. Dana White cut him immediately, declaring Palhares a clear and present danger to everyone in the sport.
Finally, he let it go, but I'm going to cut him too.
He's done.
He's done.
Even after getting banned from the UFC, this human ankle crusher continued his brutal habits in other promotions, eventually getting suspended for eye gouging and steroid use, proving beyond doubt that some fighters simply can't be trusted to compete safely. But his legacy remains a paradox. Despite being a grappling genius, his lack of sportsmanship and disregard for opponent's safety overshadowed his skill. Thiago Silva's UFC career exploded in the most chaotic meltdown imaginable, with SWAT teams, guns, and one of Dana White's most embarrassing reversals. In 2014, a SWAT team surrounded his Florida home after he allegedly threatened his ex-wife with a gun. The UFC wasted no time and cut him immediately from the roster, but the story was just beginning.
When the SWAT team is surrounding your house, probably a good chance you're in big trouble. He went through the process, and no charges were filed against him.
When charges were dropped months later, Dana White made a decision to bring Silva back, saying he was innocent until proven guilty. Then came the plot twist nobody saw coming. A few months later, video footage recorded by his ex-wife surfaced. It showed him holding a gun, accusing her of having an affair with another man in their house. Once this video came out, Dana now had no choice but to fire Silva for the second time. Silva's post-UFC career became a wandering journey through Russian promotions. His once fearsome skills were clearly diminished by personal demons that continued to haunt him. BJ Penn. BJ Penn's career ended in the most humiliating way possible for a UFC legend. He was the two-division king, being both a lightweight and welterweight champion. This guy was an absolute legend of the sport. But in 2019, he was reduced to a drunken bar brawl, a brawl that made MMA fans look away in secondhand embarrassment. After 7 straight losses and an agonizing decline in the UFC, TMZ cameras caught the 40-year-old Hall of Famer getting knocked out cold by a stranger outside a Hawaiian bar. The footage from 2019 showed a slurring, out-of-shape BJ Penn. He was trading punches before eating a right hand that sent him crumbling to the pavement. For Dana, this was the final humiliation he needed.
But the shots that BJ took would have knocked out a normal human being. He's taken a lot of damage, and I don't want to see him take any more.
Watching a man who ruled 2 weight classes reduced to this was painful. Dana admitted himself that BJ doesn't need another fight, he needs help. Penn may not have been banned for a shocking violation like the others, but it's clear the UFC didn't punish him. They protected him. They cut him before things spiraled even further. Renato Sobral. Renato Sobral crossed the line from respected fighter to would-be criminal in the most disturbing submission foul ever witnessed in the octagon. At UFC 74, the Brazilian jiu-jitsu specialist didn't just defeat David Heath, he nearly killed him. His anaconda choke continued long after the fight was over. As Heath tapped desperately with his hands, referee Steve Mazzagatti screamed in Sobral's ear to let go, but Sobral kept squeezing with terrifying intensity 3 whole seconds after the tap, long enough for Heath to go completely unconscious. The Vegas crowd's cheers soon turned to horrified gasps as Sobral wouldn't let go, yet Sobral just casually stood up, then coldly told Joe Rogan he wanted to teach Heath respect for his trash talk. Enraged, Dana White immediately fired him on the spot, saying, "This wasn't competition, this was assault. This clearly wasn't just a routine foul, it was calculated." The kind of premeditated violence that still makes fighters cringe today. Wanderlei Silva. Wanderlei Silva, known as the Axe-Murderer, didn't just leave the UFC, he went out in a blaze of self-destruction. In May 2014, Silva made his first big mistake. He decided to flee from a random drug test at his Las Vegas gym. He later admitted the reason, saying he'd taken banned diuretics to help with inflammation in his fractured wrist. The Nevada Athletic Commission came down hard, hitting the Brazilian legend with a lifetime ban. As his career neared its end, Silva initially announced his retirement, but the story wasn't over just yet. In 2015, his ban was overturned and he was free to fight again. Instead of returning quietly, Silva launched into a tirade against the UFC, comparing their fights to a circus and also accusing them of fight fixing. His explosive comments didn't go unanswered as UFC's parent company sued him, but by then the damage was already done. The UFC finally released him from his contract, putting an end to his career in the promotion. Later on, despite his feuds with the UFC, he was inducted into the promotion's Hall of Fame in 2024. Wanderlei Silva's exit proved that even legends can become their own worst enemies. And that's all I got for you today. These are the list of fighters who managed to get themselves permanently blacklisted from the UFC. Some did it with a single punch, others with sheer recklessness. It really makes you wonder, how is John Jones still around? Just kidding, Dana. He's the GOAT. Please sponsor me.